Welcome to this week's edition of On the Couch series, brought to you by Indigo Living. Each week, I have the privilege to interview women across the region, small businesses, big businesses, philanthropists, women that are making an impact here and globally. Now, today is a special day because I have, well, the face of Arabiya from NBC. Fatima is a dear friend, but you get to see her on the news channel. She's bringing, well, the breaking news from across the globe, as well as the financial world as well. But this time, she's on the couch. She's behind the scenes, and she's talking about her latest book, Don't Look Down, talking about her incredible career in the world of journalism, over 15 years of breaking news across the globe. Please welcome Fatima Daoui. Thank you.
Rosemin, thank you for having me. Such a beautiful introduction. Thank you for having me also in Indigo Living. I'm happy to be here and have a great discussion.
What does it feel like being interviewed? Because I know you are, we switch seats, right?
You know what? I always tell my colleagues, I said, I feel sorry for guests because they're in the hot seats and my job is just to fire the hot questions. And just watch the face and watch the energy and watch the temperature go up. So I'm on that seat today, yes.
I hope it's not hot questions, because what I want to share with viewers is your incredible journey. You have reached an incredible milestone in your career, and you get to share it in your book, which talks about your career journey and, of course, all these taboo subjects about being a woman in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Let's start with where you started. So you were born, I'm gonna throw it to you.
I was born in Casablanca and then I studied there. I had a normal, beautiful childhood. I'm the eldest of my siblings. So I had a very, very special relationship with my father, and he was my inspiration. He was a man that empowered women all through when he's at work. He's a banker, and he gave us probably the whole freedom to prosper and have a career and push us to become who we want to be. So he sent me to the UK when I was 16 to live with my aunt and continue my higher education in London. And back then I wasn't very happy with this decision because I'm a family person. I love my mother, love my brothers and sisters. But looking at it now, I think he made the best decision for me.
Yeah.
Because I grew up to be, I think the best version of what I could have if I stayed in Morocco. Morocco is a beautiful place. We're used to have, we're geographically placed in a place where we're used to having all these different nationalities, being colonized by the French and the Spanish. But that trip to the UK definitely leveled up what I could be doing.
And so now you're in this cosmopolitan city with so many different nationalities. Where did journalism come into play?
In a complete coincidence, I think it was a destiny call. People who know me know that I'm someone who's shy, very reserved, and my friends do not change throughout time. I think I have the same friends since at least the past 20 years. So I finished my education at university. I did business management, I did finance. I worked in the finance industry, and it was through a very simple lunch with friends discussing certain options, because a lot of people at that time, back in 2006, 2007, were moving to the region, be it in the UAE or Qatar or things. Things were starting to build up. Dubai was building something different, and I saw lots of my friends going. I didn't ask that, I didn't question that, but something came along my way where I went to this, it was supposed to be a normal lunch, and I met this lady who at that time was moving to business news. And it was a very, very new thing to a news media in the Middle East, and she was hired for that purpose, and she was a private banker in the UK. So we exchanged details, we kept in touch, and then one day on a Christmas Eve, she calls me and she says, how about you come to Dubai? And I was like, I've never been to Dubai. Again, coming from a Middle Eastern family, traveling to Middle East is something probably for Moroccans not the usual. We would go to France, we'd go to Europe because it's closer. And she said, listen, we started this team in Al Arabiya and we are recruiting the best of the best with the financial background to fill in a gap of business news reporting. We have the biggest markets, things are going big and growing and developing, and we need to grasp this opportunity. And I was like, me, TV, journalism? No, for sure not. And she's like, listen, just take a ticket, come to Dubai. January is a beautiful month here. The weather is great and you will love it. Just come this is what pushed me. So I did book a ticket and I came here and I booked myself a hotel near Media City because there was a beach there next to JBR. JBR was like in the middle of building. Everything was like
it's funny because I moved the same time. I moved in this bracket. Which
and
is
it
really
was
exciting.
like Dubai was like this big place where everything was getting built and builders everywhere and stuff. So I said, okay, let me find something by the beach. And then she comes and visits us in Al Arabiya. I went, I saw the team. It was right at the very beginning, and the financial market, especially Saudi markets, was doing very, very, very well. Everyone wanted to know what's going on. It lived the most historical boom in the history of Saudi market, and Saudi market is at the value of above 2 trillion Saudi riyals, so it's huge. And I did TV tests and stuff like that. I did the interviews, and it was very much casual, nothing beyond that. I was just having fun, exploring this very, for me, it was magnificent because I've never seen what's behind the scenes in TV. And that's it. I went back to London, and a few months later, it was an offer. And I was a bit hesitant at the beginning, moving cities, moving countries, but something inside me was ready for a change.
I love that.
And then
you took the leap.
I just said, you know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm young. What's going to happen? What's the worst going to happen? I did ask myself this question. I said, if I don't like it, 6 months, I have a return ticket. I'll get myself a ticket, go back to London, where I call home, really.
Yeah.
And I really took it from that perspective, risk. And I came and never came back.
And so you've been with NBC for 15 years.
Yes.
Which is, I just think it's funny because there's the same period I came to Dubai as well, and it was so exciting. There was such an incredible energy in the air, and it was the same thing. And for me, it was just an accidental trip that was supposed to be 3 weeks and has now lasted 15 years. No, the city is incredible. And
it is. And it has grown to become the city.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows Dubai, and they would put it in their holiday plan. They would put it in their business trip agenda for the year. They would put it even to buy a second home. It became like a melting pot of every single nationality, a little bit like what I lived and grew up in London. So I didn't feel the difference really. And it's just amazing how I see the city growing and growing to become a more beautiful place to be.
No, I feel very lucky to be here as well. So now you're at NBC. You are now the face of news. I've watched you at Davos. I've watched you in New York. You travel the globe. You are the voice of breaking news. How does it feel to have that responsibility?
Very big. I think being a journalist is one of the most exciting careers anyone can have, a woman or a man, because your adrenaline is running high daily. There's not one single dull day in journalism, because when you wake up, you are either going to read the news and ask the tough questions and try to get or to squeeze your guest to the maximum so he can tell you what you want to hear and what the viewer wants to hear, or you are on the way to the airport to cover a conference, and the first thing is in your mind and the last thing is in your mind is to break scoops and break news for your channel. So it is the most demanding, the most exciting. Definitely you need to love this job to be able to cope with the long hours and the long commitments.
So when you're breaking news, I know we talk about this off camera all the time, is how do you make sure it's authentic and real? Because in a world that has the hashtag fake news, how do you combat this?
Absolutely. I think this is the most responsible job description a journalist takes very, very seriously. Again, I'm sure you've been watching what goes on social media. Social media has become a platform on its own right. So it is here to stay, and it's going probably, hopefully, to develop to become a little bit more reliable in terms of news. But at the moment, we have us as the traditional news media institutions, and then we have the social media, again, grasping the attention of many, many young followers across the globe. We're talking about millions and millions of people interacting actively daily, every single minute there. Let's talk about how we do fact-checking when it comes to breaking news. For example, me, I'm someone known in the business news to be able to break news all the time. So if I manage to get something from a certain credible source, I don't go straight and put it on the screen. There's a big team behind me that needs to double check that, and we have to discuss it among us. There's an editor, there's a management also. I need to find a second source that confirms the first source of information. And then if the news are so sensitive and they're gonna change things if we put them on air, we need to have some recordings. Those recordings has to stay, of course, off record, but it protects the rights for the news channel that took actually the risk and put the breaking news from a certain journalist, just in case if something goes wrong legally, for example, if that person of that source who's concerned decided to sue, we have the whole information and documents that can support us. Whereas if you try to do that on social media, you've seen it, no one is going to double check. It's you open up your social platform, and if you have there 10 million followers, you did influence that news, be it correct or not, be it information or misinformation, there is power there. So now what the traditional news media are trying to do, they're trying to find a platform there to connect the two, so we can keep becoming the source of information, whether for social media prescribers or subscribers or a viewer or traditional audience.
Yeah, I think there's I don't want to say a problem, but right now people are just grabbing their news from non-reliable sources, whether it's rumors or not, and it's really important to have a trusted source and a trusted voice to give that news, especially when it comes to, I mean, we talked about business, but business, politics, health, medical, you need to have a reliable source.
I think eventually there would need to be a bit of regulation, especially in sensitive topics, be it politics, business news, because it moves markets, or medical issues. I mean, I don't find it, I actually get very uncomfortable seeing a certain influencer, a certain social platform discussing a very important major surgery as if it's a one-day walk in and walk out, where it is not the case. Any major surgery, it needs a lot of tests, and you need to go into anesthesia
and consultations,
and maybe you're going to recover like I would recover. It needs me a month, where somebody else would need them 2 months. So it's a very sensitive subject, and we have so many vulnerable people there that are sick, or they look up to that person and they would run for that doctor or that clinic or that hospital, and they might lose their lives. So I find it something that needs definitely regulation and a little bit of control, because it is, at the end of the day, it's people's lives that we're talking about.
No, hopefully, I think it's such an evolving topic. And you're right, there has to be some sort of regulation in life-threatening anything. I think in politics, medical for sure, can change people's lives in a second. Now let's talk about this book. It's a bestseller on Amazon, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Don't Look Down. Now it's hard-won lessons to help you in your own fight.
Absolutely.
So you talk about your journey as a journalist, and what about as a woman in this career of journalism?
It's all there. It's all there. I mean, the first reason that made me sit down and write this book is it came from me being on the ground all the time and seeing that the female aspect of journalists is smaller, and I always wanted it to be bigger. I wanted them to be more present, especially here in the region. I mean, this can go global. It would talk about female journalists in general, and then I was like, no, I wanted to see more talents on the ground. I wanted to see more female journalists willing to roll up their sleeves and do the work and get the news going, because it's a very important thing we're doing. It has a lot of ethical aspect to it. We are there to say the truth, and it's one of the most noble things if it's done correctly, and it can be also jeopardized to be one of the worst things you could do if you use that job or that platform to say the untruth or to say the lies. So yeah, it came from there, and I decided to look at it as an easy read. So I told myself, if I don't connect with the youth and telling them what happened to me, whether it's failures or successes, and really concentrate on the challenges so they can connect, because I don't want them to think that I'm here and I'm all about success. No, I didn't get there by
And everyone
chance.
has a story.
Exactly. I think people connect more when you tell them, when you open your heart and the words are coming from your heart to them. And I looked at it as a gift I wanted to pay forward, because there's something that happened to me when I was in the UK. Rosemin, you know, being a student there was not an easy thing. Fees were expensive. I was young and stuff like that. And I met this family that helped me quite a lot with accommodation and things like that when I left my aunt's house. And they did it for no return. They did it with no asking me for anything back. And it taught me that I wanted to do the same. And I actually grew up to become the same and do the same. I like to help without expecting a return. And this book is just to express the need of having people doing things without expecting anything. So my colleague yesterday, for example, he said, you've put things from your private life. And we were surprised. We didn't know that all these things happened to you. And I said, yes, I did it in purpose. I wanted to open up and talk about everything that happened to me and made me so vulnerable at certain times in my life, because that's the way I wanted to say thank you. I wanted to say thank you to that experience. I wanted to say thank you to the opportunities that were open ahead of me. And I wanted to take all that and give it to the next person, which is this young girl or that young boy, and them doing exactly the same thing. I believe in continuity of passing on wisdom. I believe in it. And I believe it would create this thing that we need. Hiding things or trying to play it that it's, yeah, I did it, but I don't want to share how I did it. It stops things from
I think
evolving.
You have to be, yeah, of course. And I think you have to have a very authentic voice. And what I learned from this book is the element of gratitude as well.
Absolutely.
And the gratitude for lessons, whether they're failures, the highs and lows, because
100%.
that gets you where you are today. Can you share 2 highlights from the book?
2 highlights?
Yeah.
I would say, when you fail, you should not feel embarrassed. I think you should feel lucky, because someone out there wants you to become better. And it's amazing how those very low moments in our lives makes us more wise, makes us more experienced, and just makes us stronger. And I think it's one of the things that I have touched me all throughout my career up to today. So definitely never fear failure. Maybe you are one of the lucky ones. Maybe there's something very big waiting for you ahead that needed that certain experience and period of your time in your life to get you to become the best version of yourself. So that's one thing that is very close to my heart. Second thing that's always, and I think it will stay with me until the last day I have in life, is always pay the gift forward.
Love that.
Always help people. Always be open to mentor young people. Always share what you've witnessed, what you've learned. Don't stop the passing of wisdom and experience and keep it to yourself. A, as if you didn't do anything. B, your impact will be much bigger and you will be remembered for a long time. Mm-hmm. And you are creating, or helping at least, to create a stronger generation. Because I think it's very needed now with all these platforms and confusion, and you have very vulnerable young people. They don't know where to go, how to get inspired. Do I need to get inspired from her or from him or that? So when you have someone who did it, who failed, who succeeded, who fell, picked up the pace again, and they're doing their job or career or something, it's actually, you can connect with them and keeps that passing on and helping people going.
I love that. I mean, those are actually great examples, because I have a clip from Oprah, which she spoke at the Graduate School of Stanford to the graduating class. And she talks about failure. And it's actually this great clip, and I always share it with students and just friends in general. And she talks about the path of failure, and that just because something fails, it's almost like God telling you that you have to actually turn left or right, because it's going to lead you to something greater and better.
Absolutely, 100%.
But you have to learn your lesson, and I think that's the trick.
You have to go through the pain.
You have to go through the pain and the lesson, and once you understand the lesson, what that failure brought, it will take you to that next path.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And your second point, which I thought was great, was giving back, paying it forward.
Yeah.
There is nothing that people in your position that have excelled in your career. I mean, you are incredible at what you do, and I am so proud to watch you on TV.
Still have a long way ahead of me. Still learning.
I think young students really need to have mentors. They need to do work experience. They need to see what it's like to go behind the scenes. And when I do interviews where I talk about the fashion industry or media, people don't realize that even just to do this interview, behind the scenes, there's about 10 people. There's a big
team behind,
whether it's lighting and production, editing, direction. There's so many people behind it to get your story across.
Totally get it.
So you can actually find something in the world of media or fashion or whatever it may be. And find your skill set. But yeah, mentorship is so important.
Very, very important. I think it's one of the most important things today.
Yeah, so if people can give back their time to the youth, that would be actually the best gift.
Absolutely. But again, from the youth side, there's one thing I have to say. Don't wait for things to come and knock your door.
You need to go out there.
Yes. Even if it takes an unpaid internship in a big, important organization, go for it. Shadow people, take initiatives, ask questions. If I want to talk about journalism, for example, we're very busy in the office.
Yeah.
So for me to sit and take time, it's going to be between two programs, or it's going to be just after the editorial meeting. So it has to come, the two energies needs to meet. So that young person needs to show that this is for him or for her the dream job. And if that's the case, you will find them running after you, trying to ask you, why did you say that? Why did you sit like this? How is the news? What do you do in the morning? All these questions that comes from intern are very, very important, because you're just saying to that person who's senior, I want to be you. And if you show that, there is no doubt that person that you wanted information from or learning from would not give you time.
Yeah,
it has to come from both sides.
It has to be drive, ambition,
definitely,
and you need to put the time in.
Absolutely.
You need to work hard and show that you are interested. I love that. That's so good. So what can we expect in the next, around the corner for you? What's next for you?
At the moment, I've just launched a book, so I'm concentrating on spreading the content as much as I can, because we're right at the beginning. I'm continuing my daily job, breaking the news, presenting. Of course, I took a small break. Health was calling for a priority, so now it's time for me to retake and just take a day at a time, seeing where it is. I don't want to make any plans. I'm someone, if once you see the book, I'm not someone who plans and put targets, because I just believe that this puts pressure on people. Yeah. Yes, you do need to have the right energy and the right thing, saying, okay, I'm in this job and I want to be successful. I want to do the best I can, without setting, in my opinion, and again, each one is different, without setting yourself targets. I want to be this by this age, or want to be this. No, take it easy on yourself. The pressure out there is huge enough for you to be able to be standing and trying to do something. That's by itself big. Yeah. So let life do its magic and its work. You have the energy, you are putting the hard work. You don't know what opportunities will open up for me. I'm still working with the same mentality I worked with when I decided to take the risk and come to Dubai and take this job. I put the work. If a mission is given to me, I will give it my optimum. I will give it all my time. I will do my best. And then magic happens. And that magic happens, it's so good. It's very, very nice when something just pop up because you're just doing the things are taking you to your right path. And I'm from that school. So no planning for me, doing things as I do them all the time.
But
waiting for the next door to open.
I love that, because you seize the opportunity. You are so present when you are on screen and off screen. And you seize the opportunity, you have pure intentions, which I think is so important.
Yes.
And I think you're responsible when it comes to sharing facts. And I think that is really what I wanted to get across, because it is so important when you're in a position of journalism, or even if you are on social media with such a big following, you have a voice, and that voice should always be used for
the good.
For the good.
Yes. For always, the good, for the truth.
Yeah.
For whatever you're presenting or talking about.
And be authentic. There's, this idea of shortcuts or getting more followers, it doesn't pay in the end, right? Like,
I think we reached a stage in, if you want to talk in general, social media or something else, where people are so thirsty for authentic things. Authentic information, authentic people. Diversity is beautiful. We don't have to be somebody else. It's just going to make you hide and not shine. And God is so great that each one of us has something special about him. This is how great the universe is. And if you hide that gift that has been given to you, it's such a shame and a waste, because you have something beautiful about you, and because you're authentic, it shines, and things, Rosemin is remembered because she's Rosemin. Whereas if I decided to become or just copy somebody else, I lost myself, so I'm gone, I'm finished, I don't know where I am, and then I will never be her or him. I will never be able, because the whole chemistry is different. I have something they don't have, and she has something I don't have. And why don't we have that richness of diversity and just be ourselves? This is going to serve a lot in general. So yes, authentic is definitely something I speak about as well, and I take it seriously.
Fatima, before you go, Indigo Living, their motto is living beautifully. What does it mean to you?
Living beautifully means many things to me, but at the top of the list is being authentic. To try to get away from anything that would pressurize you, anything that you don't have control over. Let it sort itself out. Try to sort out things that you can have control on them today, that elevate pressure and put you in the right place where you have to be, so you can concentrate on the most important things to you. Living beautifully also means to me having a clean living at home, because I spend long hours at work. Cameras, mics, galleries, sound engineer, 10 voices in my head. So when I go home, I need to have
a clean space.
Absolutely. A clean space, a beautiful bedroom where I can just declutter. I don't have TV in my bedroom. Just a place
fact about Fatima.
Making it warm, and also a small little modest spa that I can actually use, because I don't have the luxury of doing those trips to the spa all the time. So yes, that's what it means if we talk about living in terms of physical living.
I love that. You know, one of the gifts I gave myself for my 40th was I redid my home. And I just needed a fresh palette. I needed things decluttered. I needed things clean. And it was actually the best gift I gave myself.
Absolutely.
Because when your home is your sanctuary, you are calm, you sleep well. And again, you're just nurturing the best version of yourself. So I love that answer. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Fatima's book is out on Amazon. It's a best-selling book. So make sure you head over on Amazon and get it. One click. It is the best gift you can give yourself and your friends. Get inspired by her story and her lessons. And you have so many incredible endorsements, including the chairman of Arabiya. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rosemary, for having me.
And thank you for watching. Make sure you follow Indigo Living. Make sure you get her book and check us out on YouTube. Watch the full episode as well as our upcoming guests as well. See you very soon.